The format is similar to all board meetings. We will listen intently to all speakers. Our goal in moving to a larger venue was not to change the format, but to accommodate everyone attending. Because of that, we ask that each speaker preserve the 3-minute time limit to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to be heard. Before we begin, I would like each of you to know that the board understands the seriousness of the matter before us. We personally respect Mr. Jones and his family, as well as his service to the district, and in no way wish any comments made to be personally disrespectful. We ask the same of you. We are required by the new law H. Bill 40 to hold this hearing, and so are fulfilling that commitment. But are mindful that we are discussing personnel matters and are sensitive to the people behind the positions. Please know the board has thoroughly discussed the personal, financial, and leadership ramifications of taking any action on this matter, and will vote with a clear assessment of the facts. John Hardy is our district's legal counsel. As this hearing is a new state requirement, we have asked him to guide us through this to ensure we stay to the letter of the law. At this time, I'll introduce John.
Good evening. Tonight we are here to hold a public meeting, a public opportunity for you to address the board under House Bill 483, which became law in the state of Texas in June of 2013. This law provides that when a school district or a public governmental entity such as a city, school district, county, what have you, pays an employee who is leaving the district more than they have coming under their contract, you are required to have a public hearing. I want to state at the outset that this board is not considering paying Mr. Jones more than he has coming under his contract. The board is taking this opportunity to give you the opportunity to speak and address the board with your concerns and your comments. I will state at this point that the superintendent, if he were to be paid his full amount under his contract, which expires on June 30th, 2015, that he would earn approximately $173,000. The board is considering an agreement tonight that has been discussed with Mr. Jones and Mr. Jones' legal counsel. And if the board were to approve the separation agreement that has been considered and discussed, that Mr. Jones would receive the sum of $127,000. So it's significantly less than he has coming under his contract. But again, this board wanted to give the community the opportunity to speak and address the board regarding this situation. You didn't come to hear an attorney speak tonight, but I want to state that the school business is different than any other business in the state when it comes to contractual rights and obligations. And there may be some questions, well, why does the board not allow Mr. Jones just to finish out his contract and finish out the next year? Well, under the Texas law, his contract, even though the contract expires on June 30th, 2015, would not expire without board action. And so the discussions that have taken place with Mr. Jones and the attorneys involved have revolved around the fact that what is in the best interest of the district, what is in the best interest of Mr. Jones and his family. The board has considered the cost to the district. They have been extremely mindful of the cost, as we all are in the public expenditures and tax money. The board understands that the funds that would be spent if this separation agreement is approved, that those funds could be spent on other matters. However, if the board approves this after their consideration, the board will be acting in what they feel is in the best interest of the district as agreed to by Mr. Jones. The board would assure you that these funds are not coming out of this year's budget if approved. They would be coming out of the fund balance. So those are items that the board has considered during this process. And I would ask that looks like we have 18 people that have signed up to speak. The board will follow its normal procedure and allow up to 3 minutes for each person to speak, if you so choose. Some of you may find that the person in front of you or spoken before you has covered what you want, and you do not have to speak just because you signed up. This is a public hearing, and we would ask that there be the appropriate decorum that is used by everyone here. You're allowed to speak your mind, but it's not a time to get out of line. And this is a public meeting, and we want to act in accordance with the law. So with that said, unless a board member has anything else they want to add at this point, seeing nobody jumping to speak, we'll then start with the names here. And the first person that is asked to address the board is Mark Sartain. Mr. Sartain, before your time starts, Mr. White is the official timekeeper and will try to keep us all in order.
Well, I'll probably run over, so you just stop me when you need to. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for giving me an opportunity to share my feelings and thoughts. This is intended primarily for our community, but you are part of our community, so I will face and address you as well. I'd like to first make it clear that I'm not here tonight to argue on behalf of either side of the situation. I have no agendas to serve, axes to grind. I have no interest to promote, no opinions or positions, nor do I seek to change anyone else's. My desire is simply to share a perspective that I believe needs to be heard. My prayer is that it will be heard with the heart as I will attempt to deliver it. I hope you'll listen objectively, even beyond the point at which it may be comfortable, even beyond the point to which you may disagree. I hope you will listen not to respond or to be offended, but to hopefully receive an insight that might be of value in moving us forward from where we find ourselves tonight. Tonight is a reality. It has come to this. The damage has been done. There will be scars. We all understand that. I know all have concerns, and will express those concerns, but my interest and my attention focuses on how we move forward, how we take the next step, how we handle ourselves and recover from what has occurred over the last few months. It will serve no positive purpose for us to spend this evening on self-indulgent expressions of opinion or position. I believe it's truly a time soon to begin recovery. I believe that this process has caused us to lose our focus as a community. It has inflicted wounds that will indeed have scars. I've only been directly related to this district for 10 months now, but I've been indirectly aware for over 12 years. I believe this has given me a very unique perspective. I've had the opportunity to become aware of the perceptions that people outside this district have held us to, also now combined with 10 months of experience from the inside. Many of the perceptions I have fortunately found to be inaccurate, simply perceptions. However, there are others that have been affirmed through the intersection of them with my experience. And as a result of these overlaps in perception and experience, I've been compelled to look more objectively at the resulting reality, much the same as we have to do in our personal lives. There is one area in particular that I would like to share with you tonight. I've sensed from my arrival in May and have watched it swell and expand to a point that I believe must be addressed honestly if we're to move forward. I've witnessed an inconsistency of sorts, and to even use a more harsh word, a hypocrisy, if you will, as to how we as a community have pridefully boasted to the outside world of our strengths as a community and as a school district, yet internally our focus seems to be overwhelmingly the opposite. It appears that we spend the majority of our energies finding fault, casting blame, and fostering the sky is falling mentality from within our community. Spring Hill is a great school district filled with great kids being led and challenged by a lot of great people. There are great things accomplished in this district on a daily basis, enough so to even justify to some degree our boasting. Why then does it appear that we spend so much of our energy and emotion pointing out perceived weaknesses, born mostly from differences of opinion and preference? I truly believe if we can return our focus as a community to the impressive list of positives, we'll soon find that we have no time, taste, nor tolerance for focus on the opposite. Certainly, we should never ignore or dismiss our weaknesses as a community or as a school district. We must attend to them. However, practically every authority on leadership agrees. Any successful organization, team, business, or individual will apply 80% of their resources, 80% of their energies and attention to accentuating their positives and only 20% to their negatives. If one persists long enough with this formula in reverse, very soon the areas considered strength can begin to diminish and are no longer strengths. The reversal of this formula not only has tangible consequences on our assets, but it carries with it an even more devastating emotional consequence. I believe we're at a crossroads in our community. Will we continue to allow our focus to be driven down to the negative, or will we choose to recognize what we have and purpose to grow it, nurture it, and celebrate it? If we truly believe that what we have here is special, if we truly believe what we have is unique and exceptional, let's start acting like it, talking like it, and making every effort to build it up, not tear it down. We talked earlier of perception. Over the past several months, the perception held by many of those outside our district is that Spring Hill is simply an episode of the reality show Survivor. People tune in to see who'll get voted off next. Others see us as an episode of the Cutthroat Kitchen where the contestants sabotage and undermine one another for their own successes. Some even think we're just another version of American Idol, where regardless of the quality of the performance, there's always one or two that want to humiliate or criticize. I tend to see us as the 10 o'clock news. Hundreds of feel-good, do-right celebration stories out there, but the vast and majority reported are the negative. For some reason, that's what folks are drawn to. That's what gets our attention. I'd like to issue a challenge to our community, just as I did our athletes when I arrived in May. For us to be successful, we must focus on two things. We must maximize our assets. We have to make the absolute most of what we have the most of. And we must be unified. And to be unified, we must be completely prepared to sacrifice a portion of our own preferences, rights, and privileges to preserve that unity. I appreciate your attention, and I appreciate the opportunity. I'll go now and share my attention with those that these doors are open to serve. I'll leave you with one quote. We mentioned that the episodes of the last few years have left scars. My philosophy of scars is they're not signs of wounds, they're signs of healing. Thank you very much.
This, I based it on 172,000, but the idea is still a lot. My name is Susan Baker, and I've lived in this district for almost 28 years. This is my 22nd year to teach here. We pay pretty high taxes here in Spring Hill, but we try to spend it the best we can. We've even gotten awards for that. I count some of you as very good friends, and know that you're well-meaning and think what you're about to do is right. And I'm here to disagree. The amount that you are proposing to pay off Mr. Jones is roughly the same, and I don't know if the math is exact, as 30 years of my property taxes. If he had actually done anything wrong, you could let him go without paying him anything for the rest of his contract. What has he done that you would propose to spend 30 years of my taxes? We as Spring Hill teachers have worked very hard to be frugal, get by with what we can. and not complain that we are some of the lowest paid in Texas. If we have $172,000 or even $125,000 to spare, here are some suggestions. You could fix our roof at the junior high. Nothing brightens your day better than coming into a collapsed roof tile on your desk, on your computer. It's happened to one of our teachers and in the library recently. Custodians can't replace those tiles fast as they're being ruined. It makes me wonder about mold. We need a handicapped bathroom. We don't even have a handicapped bathroom at our junior high. We need more bathrooms close to the baseball field for the kids and the teachers. If you add up the number of kids in our school that are there now and the number of actual stalls that we have, we don't adequately service them. Don't leave your class unattended, but the math teachers are a full block away from the bathroom. Why don't some of you try to go use the restroom in our junior high gym dressing rooms? You won't do it. You'll be grossed out. They're clean, yes, as clean as our custodians can make them, but they're dilapidated and old. Do you know we have wooden lockers in some of our dressing rooms when you're supposed to have material that can be sanitized? We could go a long way with $125,000 or $170,000 to fix that. We have to be so careful with our paper usage, but our kids have to be ready for these tests. Do you know how many reams of paper we could buy for $170,000? Come by the junior high on a really rainy day. Come on in, but bring your rain boots because water will be above your ankles to get in the teacher door. I wonder if $172,000 could fix something with that. Let's get real here. We've only been in the news lately because our board cannot seem to communicate with our superintendent. How many of you have actually spent extra time individually in his office working things out? How many actual meetings? How much time have you spent with that? I suggest you all go in the boardroom, shut the door, keep the people out, and work it out. That's what the rest of the world has to do. Work out like adult professionals and don't waste our money. If you don't like Mr. Jones' style, well, let him know that it won't be renewed. And find yourself somebody else you can tell what to do. By doing this, you're giving the man the dignity that he deserves and the opportunity to find a more welcoming community. Find someone that has the vision you want, but please, spend my money with your conscience in mind. When you signed up for this position, you promised to take care of our tax money. Spending that kind of money because you as a board cannot seem to come to a consensus and work it out and communicate effectively is morally and ethically wrong. Have you forgotten how much money $172,000 actually is? Have you forgotten that it's not your money and not just written on a piece of paper, but ours? If you can't work this out without costing us money, then perhaps we might need new board members. We need those who will communicate with one another, not try to one-up each other, who are committed to spending our money as wisely as we can and are so dedicated to our district, they'll be willing to stay in that boardroom until the differences are worked out. And if you can't commit to that, perhaps you ought to think about doing something else.
Appreciate the opportunity to visit with you this evening, and I thank you for your dedication and service to the students of Spring Hill Independent School District. Obviously, the decisions you make are immense, to say the least, and as a school board, you'll know more facts than we, the general public, do. Some of my concerns and questions were answered on the financial end by the attorney and the explanation, and of course, Ms. Baker also brought some to light. And again, when we look at some of those figures, just like Ms. Baker with her concern about how money could be better spent, I think about it from the standpoint of what about an extra teacher or 2 or 3 or 4 in grades K through 5, where if you look at the Texas Academic Performance Report, those class sizes in Spring Hill are higher than the state average. but they would enjoy a few extra teachers down there. Maybe an extra counselor on each campus, helping our kids with the struggles they face every day. If you look at statistics from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board website, you'll notice that less than half of graduates from Spring Hill High School earn a 4-year degree within 6 years of high school graduation. What are they doing? Maybe we need some extra counselors at the high school to make sure that every student that leaves here has a workable plan for when they leave high school, for life after high school. Maybe it would be $75 worth of school supplies for every student K through 8. How about that? Not having to worry about which supply list to pick up or fight the crowds at Walmart that week before school. That'd be pretty dandy myself. Heard you talk about what's best for the district, talk about what's best for the Joneses. It seems like it all revolves around the adults. You need to ask yourself, what's best for the kids? That's why we're here.
I really feel like I probably don't need to speak because Ms. Baker pretty much covered everything that needs to be covered, and she said it a lot better than I was going to say it. But I just want to express that Spring Hill consists of so many great people, and I think most of you know that. But a lot of really good, solid people are not willing to jump into something that is so full of meanness and conflict and backstabbing, and they've just seen, as already has been alluded to, so much negativity. I've had comments, you know, the past couple of weeks when the board elections were coming up, you know, they saw what happened last election and they didn't want any part of it. It wasn't that they didn't feel there was a need that needed to be filled, and there certainly wasn't a lack of qualified people that are really wanting to help the district, but they're kind of gun shy at this point, and you all need to fix that. I know there's probably some of you that don't even want to be on here now because of your experience, and that's definitely not how it should be. It should be a positive thing where it is all about the kids, as Mr. Knight said, and that this small group of highly negative, inflammatory people are not what's guiding us. And I hope more really good people will speak up, even if not in this public forum, if they will do it privately. I've been of that same mind. I just don't want to get out in it. But there just comes a time when the good people need to step up and speak up and say, we don't agree with you. We don't agree that Mr. Jones has done a bad job, and you've never given us one solid, objective reason to say, this is what he hasn't done, or this is what he did. I would take more than one, actually, but one would be better than none. So I sincerely hope that we can get back to more positive, and if that means that we start with a majority of a new board, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And obviously that would need to be with y'all's decision as well.
First of all, I want to personally say thank you to the board. I know this is difficult, and I can imagine, and for the countless number of hours that all of you serve, that none of us will ever know, with the exception of your spouses. I want to say to the board and the community that I understand that the board is privy to information that we are not. And knowing that, I trust that the board has taken time to review and will make the decision that will move our community and district forward. I think that the board elections have shown that community supports you and trusts you with the future of our district. So I just hope that you take that with the utmost sincerity. It is apparent to the one of us that regularly attend the board meetings that all of you exercise great judgment and that you do ask questions and you do dig hard for answers. And so I hope that the same is tonight. As I say, this last bit is intended for myself also. As community members, let's not assume we know all the facts because we don't. Instead, let's pray for our board members and our faculty and their decision making. On Monday, we will all be here at these campuses dropping off our children and seeing each other at school functions. What better lesson and education for our kids to see that we can disagree, yet still be respectful and loving towards one another. Because everything will not always be the way we want it, but we must trust in the ones who's making the decisions when we don't have all the information. Spring Hill is filled with great administrators, teachers, children, and families. So let's be on that side. So that's what everyone sees from this moment forward. And I do want to particularly say thanks to Coach Sartain. I loved his quote about, scars are a form of healing. I mean, we've all had a tough time these last few years, and I just hope that whatever the outcome is tonight, from this point forward, we can start focusing on what we have here and our teachers and children and families. Thank you.
I know this special hearing was not called in haste, but after much thought and consideration for what is best for Spring Hill ISD. And although I'm positive that there are circumstances and events that the community is not aware of that the board has had to address, I am knowledgeable of 4 specific items that bring me here to support this proposal. First, having regularly attended school board meetings, it is not going unnoticed that on multiple occasions, the agenda notes that during executive session, pending litigation is being addressed. For a grievance to reach this level that requires the school board to seek legal representation means that too much is left being unaddressed and unresolved. Also during the open meetings, I have personally seen repeated items being brought forth again and again on various issues because they continue to go unchecked or ignored. In addition, there has been a significant number of families who have moved out of the district or simply transferred or enrolled their children into other schools. Not only is our district losing students and failing to grow, but we cannot even access the remainder of our bond money because our enrollment is not at an acceptable level to do so. With a quick drive through our community, one will see we have over 100 homes for sale and even undeveloped subdivisions. Finally, with new legislation and guidelines required by the state legislature, TEA, and the State Board of Education, we must move forward with implementing those changes for all students with confidence and fidelity for the district. In closing, I want to thank the board for their diligence to acknowledge and address concerns we have as parents and taxpayers and our immense desire to take the necessary steps to move forward and begin moving Spring Hill ISD in a direction that will once again exceed expectations. I feel confident that the board is looking out for the best interest of our students, teachers, and community, and will do what is required to maintain these efforts.